They looked at the most successful men and women of the world, and they found that they had like 7, 8 things in common. And one of the things they all had in common was a routine. They are obsessed with their routine. They don't have a gap of wasted time in their routine. You know, I realized the reason why I'm so successful and the reason why I don't get in trouble like I used to when I was younger is because when I was younger, man, my schedule had so many gaps in it.
How much time do you waste? So I say, well, let's assume your time's worth $50 an hour, which I think is an underestimate, but whatever. Let's call it 50. We can call it 25, but we'll call it 50. If that's $2,000 a week you're wasting. It's $100,000 a year. It's like, how much better would your life be if you weren't wasting $100,000 a year?
Yesterday, for the first time, I said, I've shut down all notifications. It changed my day so fundamentally. Like, I was in shock. It felt unbelievably efficient.
We got to change what we focus on from the question of what do I have to do to what's my outcome. Time is emotion. What you're really managing is emotion. Another word for that would be meaning or fulfillment. And when you think about what it's going to take to do something, usually it takes a lot and you're not going to want to do it. So I'll do it when? Tomorrow is when you get to tomorrow. Tomorrow is today and tomorrow never comes.
You see, I always thought procrastination had to do with the thing I was procrastinating around, right? Like that procrastination has something to do with work. Believe it or not, procrastination has nothing to do with your work. Procrastination is a form of stress relief. Let me explain this. So you go into work, and when you get into work, you got stuff to do, you kind of walk in and you got this big stress ball that subconsciously is hanging over your head. And so you walk in and you sit down and you know you got 13 phone calls you need to make. And you also know that you've been chickening out, you've been making easy calls, and there's a bunch of CIOs or other people that are higher level that you haven't been calling. And so as you sit down to do it, you got this stress on your shoulders, your brain it starts to go, wait a minute, well, you want me to make a call to somebody that I'm scared to make? Absolutely not. I'm so stressed out about, can we just watch some cat videos for a minute? And next thing you know, an hour's gone by. And then, of course, what do? You beat yourself up. So the only way that you can break this habit, and that's an important word for you to hear, you're not a procrastinator. You have a habit of procrastinating.
Rich people don't waste time. They realize it's their most important commodity. They don't watch a lot of TV. They don't do a lot of entertainment. If they're not working, they're studying their craft and getting better at their craft.
The biggest way people lose time is by being unintentional about it. You don't think about what you'd like to do with your time. And so you could do something, but you don't because you haven't thought about it. Think about what future you should be doing. You can take what would be wasted time and turn it into some of your most productive minutes of the week.
So the biggest part of life and time management is knowing what you want and having enough reasons to follow through.
That most people think, if I just had more time, I could get to this state. It's really a good thing that there's only 24 hours in the day. I suggest it's not time that you need. Leonardo da Vinci had 24 hours. Mother Teresa had 24 hours. Johann Sebastian Bach had 24 hours. Now, I know Bach didn't have email, but he had 20 kids, and he still got a lot done. If you're distracted, if you're worrying, if you've got your head wrapped around something, it's very hard to be present. It's very hard to be innovative. It's very hard to be strategic.
Okay, so what you're going to do for 1 week is you're going to study for half an hour. That's all. You don't get to go to the library for 4 hours. You have to sit down. We'll figure out a time, 10 o'clock in the morning, whatever. We'll put it in your schedule. Try to study for half an hour, no more. Well, think about your life along 6 dimensions. What do you want for your... So the goal is this. You're going to take care of yourself. You're going to have a life in 3 years that justifies its suffering. That's the goal. So you can invent the damn life, but you have to think what you would be satisfied with so you wouldn't be all bitter and resentful. It's like, okay, what do you want from your family? What do you want from your friends? How are you going to educate yourself? What do you want for your career? How are you going to use your time outside of work? How are you going to handle drugs and alcohol and other temptations like that? How are you going to keep yourself mentally and physically healthy? And these are open questions, like you get to answer them. The idea is you can have whatever you want, but you have to figure out what it is. It has to be realistic, and you have to figure out what it is. Okay, so now develop a vision. What's your life going to be like in 3 to 5 years? So you write it down. Then we do something else, which is, okay, your bad habits and your resentment and your bitterness and all of that, your procrastination gets completely out of hand, and you auger down, and you're in your own personal version of hell in 3 to 5 years. What does that look like? Well, everyone knows that. It's like everyone can look into the future and think, well, if I keep going on this dark path, this is where I'll end up.